on a thing like that is I won't even put $100 into a $500 item.
So I don't have my busting board with me today. But Jeff has his, because his is a push.
Brian,
Yeah,
how did you feel when you first got your Bustin?
I love that board.
How did you feel
Bummed it.
6 months into your Bustin?
Really liked it still.
How did you feel 1 year into your Bustin?
It didn't last a year.
Explain.
In December, my remote stopped working.
How long into the ownership was December?
I'd had it for 11 months.
Okay.
Contacted Bustin. The next month, I got a new remote
Yeah. That you paid for?
that I paid for.
Within a year, it wasn't in warranty. Yeah.
Correct.
Gotcha.
And then the problem was that the power button wouldn't work, so I couldn't pair the remote. It wasn't a problem because you can push start the board, so I never hit the power button.
And it
then
shuts off by itself after a few minutes.
Right, and that was really nice about it. But when the power button doesn't work, you can't press it and hold it to pair. So I contacted Bustin. They sent me another invoice.
For the power button.
For the power button.
That you paid for.
And the inside of that is a mess. They put so much sealant in there that had to chisel it off, get
And
the power button in there.
do we know if that's physically Bustin people or are these offshore
I don't
assembled?
know.
We don't know.
There was broken solder, bad connections.
That's why the power button didn't work, because
Yeah.
the solder joint had vibrated
Yeah,
loose?
right at the connection. So I did that, and it was cool. And then we went to go on a ride, and what, I got 4 miles? And it
Yeah,
was dead.
that one up to Dunedin.
So I contacted Bustin. They wrote me an email, basically saying that these things aren't supposed to last that long, and sent me an invoice for a new battery. Put that in,
Yeah.
and the board started walking around on its own. One wheel stopped working. They said,
Well, you
"Oh,
got 3 more. What do you want, dude?
yeah," and they said, "Oh, well, that's you must have put it together wrong. Take it apart, put it back together. It'll work." You know, it got us talking, and Jeff was like, "Really? You bought the other battery? Really? You bought this? Just get a new board." And I spent $400 buying parts for it, and it's not working.
Yeah, I'm a little bit of don't throw good money after bad.
Yeah. Well, and I figured, okay, well, remote. I went through 5 remotes on the Evolve.
But I wouldn't have done that either.
Right. You know, I ride things a little hard.
You ride things a lot.
Right. And like
I don't think you abuse them. You don't ride it like Vic rides his or
I didn't even try and pop an ollie on it.
yeah.
I don't think. I ride it in conditions, in places, in distances, and especially on the beach, that sand is so fine, gets into anything. Man, you gotta think, if I charge it 3 times a day, at least 2 times a day.
You're charging it 2 times a day?
Oh, at least.
Every day?
Because if I took it out to the beach.
Then you're an asshole.
Yeah.
They're right. I guess that's the problem with having a small range. Is
Yeah.
you have to charge it a lot more.
Right, but even then, my Evolve lasted, what, 1.5 years? And that went back to California to get worked on.
Why does my stuff last forever then?
I don't know.
Maybe because I only ride it once in a while. I push way more than I electric.
Yeah. Yeah, because during the week, you're pushing.
And it's not that they don't make a good skateboard.
No, and
They just make an electric skateboard that does not hold up to heavy usage for very long.
as of right now, I'm I told them I'm cutting my losses. I bought the remote, the switch, and the battery,
And the board still doesn't work.
and then the motor doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so I wrote them and said, hey, now a motor isn't working.
And you know what my problem with that would be? Okay, so I got a new battery, I got a new power switch, I got a new remote. Potentially, I have new motors.
What's next?
The Bluetooth module's the same age. The motherboard or ESC or whatever the heck
Right,
electric
exactly.
people call them is the same age. Like, at that point, why not buy a new board? If you replace every component,
Yeah. There's a few components I haven't replaced. And
but by the looks of things, they are potentially on their way out too, if the whole thing is designed to work as a unit and everything else is collapsing.
yeah, you think we got it covered?
No. 6 weeks in, you would have recommended it. 6 months in, you would have recommended it.
Yeah.
If-
11 months in, I would have recommended it.
If somebody came up to you and said, I'm gonna buy that skateboard you had, what would your response be?
Well, it's already being a response because we've had people ask us, and the reason why we're doing this video and not just not talking about it is because people have told us they bought this board because of our recommendations on it. And then now I'm getting asked, hey, you guys gonna do the V3? Why haven't we seen anything with the Bustin lately? And because it hasn't, I've been able to ride it twice since December, and the second time it only has one motor and will only get 3 miles.
Well, they make a good skateboard.
Yeah.
They make probably, if you used it like I do, good electric skateboard. But using it like you do, it doesn't hold up.
Yeah.
You say your Evolve lasted 1.5 years?
Yeah.
And that's a what, $3,000 board?
Yeah.
So your $550 board lasted 11 months. That's honestly a way better deal.
And I should have just let it die when it died.
Yeah.
I mean, replacing a remote's one thing, but then having to open it up and unseal it.
If you do breaking skateboard math, an Evolve is a half as good value as the Bustin, because the Bustin lasted 11 months for $550, and the Evolve lasted 1.5 years for $3,000. So you'd get 3 Bustins for the price of 1 Evolve, and 3 Bustins would last you almost 3 years, and 1 Evolve only lasted you 1.5 years. So it's a twice as good value.
I just don't want to tell you that this went wrong, this went wrong, and this went wrong, and the board's crap. I ride the heck out of them.
But by skateboard math, in how long it takes you to break something, the Bustin is a better value than the Evolve.
Yeah.
The two boards that you've recently run into the ground.
Yeah.
That's an important point.
Yeah.
My take on a skateboard is you should never throw too much money into parts on it. You should just say, okay, that's dead. I'll give it to my buddy's kid. He can tool around on it in the neighborhood while it limps around slowly to death, and get something new. Because if whatever you spend on a skateboard today, in 1.5 years when it's shot, you're gonna be able for the same price to buy twice the board, or buy the same board for 2/3 of the price. There's always these. It's not like regular skateboard where progression is slow because they've been around for so long.
Right.
Electric skateboards have been around for a much shorter time.
And
so the
batteries are
progression
evolving.
chemistry's a slow science.
Yeah.
So I wish the batteries evolved faster, but.
And I never had a chance to figure out if that battery actually did better than the original, because it only worked with 2 wheels once.
But like the case in point is when we first started, remember how shitty hub motors were? Like hub motors were bad.
Yeah.
And now hub motors, I think belt motors are pointless because of how good hub motors are.
Yeah.
There's no reason to have the extra complexity moving parts.
Yeah, well, I'll let you know if I get it working again, if it does. If not, it doesn't sound like it's gonna.
You should wear a helmet like that dude. You shit'll last way longer.